Is anybody here? So I got a great question the other day. A gentleman sent me an email saying, Antonio, you've got over 2,000 videos on men's style, but I'm starting from scratch here. I mean, I don't even know what my style is. So how do I find my style as a man? Do you have a step-by-step guide? Well, of course I've got a step-by-step guide. It's my style system course. You can buy it right here.
Are you serious?
Just kidding. You don't have to buy my course. Instead, I'm going to give you one of our first chapters absolutely free where I break out step by step how to find your individual style. And later in this video, I will show you where you can get all of this written out in a simple free guide. So if you want to review it, print it off, whatever. So the first step to finding your personal style as a man is to do a self-assessment asking these 4 questions. First up, you're going to identify your lifestyle needs. This is your daily activities, profession, hobbies, your social events, where you live. All of this plays into the clothing that you're going to want to look at. A finance professional on the East Coast is going to have a very different wardrobe than a finance professional down in Houston. Or a creative up in Chicago or St. Louis is going to have a different look, a different wardrobe than perhaps that same creative living down in Southern California. Next up, we want to define your style goals. This is the message the clothing says without you having to open your mouth. Seriously, look at these pictures right here. We got the same guy, 2 different outfits, 2 different messages being sent. Now, of course, there's going to be a difference in professional and casual clothing, but even your casual clothing, if you are a professional man, you're going to want it still to send a message so in case you run into somebody on your off hours. Now, the third self-assessment step is to actually take out the clothing in your wardrobe and to actually look at what you're starting with. Most women are not going to have to rebuild their entire wardrobe. And in fact, your existing wardrobe, there's a lot of items that we can identify for good fit. Yeah, you like this shirt, it's a little bit worn out, but you love the overall fit and feel of it. Well, guess what? We're going to look at that brand. We're going to look at the measurements of the shirt. Even if you were to get something custom made, we can actually use that shirt as a block, which is basically a template to make more. There's also going to be certain items in your wardrobe that you just get compliments on. You keep them because you love the color, you love the material, you love something about it. And that's something that you want to take note of and repeat again and again as you look to make purchases. And of course, let's talk money. You're going to want to set a budget, but a realistic budget. So it's going to be important that you look at clothing prices and you understand all of your options. You also want to identify the priorities. Like any other guy, I like good underwear. But before you buy expensive underwear, you want to make sure your outerwear, such as your shirts, your trousers, your shoes, and your jackets are of good quality because that's the thing that most people see. Now, at this point in the video for San Antonio, this is a lot of material. I wish I could just see it written out or in a simple chart. Well, guess what, gents? I got you covered down in my free group over at school. I'm linking to it down in the description. It is the RMRS community. Gents, I'm telling you straight up, this group is friggin' amazing. Not only do I have free courses, including one, a step-by-step guide to finding your style, but we also do weekly giveaways, and there are a lot of great guys in there where you can post basically your outfit of the day, whatever watch you're wearing, your scent of the day, and guess what? People give you immediate feedback. In fact, the interaction is not only, really quick, but it's always positive because we've got a no a-hole policy. Seriously, I wanted a place where men could show up and could become their best selves. So again, gents, that group is absolutely free down in the description of today's video. I'm linking over to the RMRS community. Now, the second step to finding your style as a man is to educate yourself about the principles of men's style. So first up, learn about fit. Now, I could talk about fit all day, but I love just showing you images of a good fit and a bad fit. A good fitting shirt, a bad fitting shirt. Good fitting trousers, bad fitting trousers. Yeah, a picture says 1,000 words, but gentlemen, understand that good fit can take a $200 suit and make it look amazing. Bad fit can take a $2,000 suit and make it look like, yeah, you're wearing your big brother's clothing and just, yeah, it does you no favors. The amount of money you spend on clothing doesn't matter if it doesn't fit you. Next up, colors and patterns. So the fit really affects the silhouette and the overall feel of the clothing depending on the structure and build of the clothing, but the color, those patterns right there is going to be the next thing that everyone notices, everyone picks up on. You got to understand the basics. Now, one of the things I love teaching guys about color is actually how they can find a color that works for their skin tone. Now, you probably already have some colors in your wardrobe that work with your skin tone because you naturally have gravitated towards these. These are the colors since you were a kid. Every time you put something like this on, people give you compliments. So you try to repeat this. Now, if you're colorblind or you really are unsure about this, one of the things I recommend is going into the best menswear store in your area, talking with a few professionals there actually taking clothing, holding it up next to your face, and actually seeing how it works with your complexion. Even if you don't see it, once you've got a trusted person you're working with, or maybe it's your wife, maybe it's just a friend, or maybe it's our community at Real Men Real Style. Now, patterns can be really complex, but just understand the basic rules. Solids are your friend, and this is where you want to start. Stripes can help the eyes go up and down. They're great in shirts. And if you own more than 5 suits, you wear suits on a daily basis, you can bring them in there. Checks and patterns like this work for accessories. They can also work in shirts, but be very careful about suiting and jacket because they can be a little bit overpowering. Finally, let's talk about the power of neutral colors. These should make up the majority of your wardrobe. I love this chart right here because I break out in percentages what should be the majority of your wardrobe. Most guys are going to look at this and say, oh, it's the boring colors like black, brown, blues, grays. Yes, that's going to be the majority of most men's wardrobes. And guess what? This works. Because stronger, bolder colors, guys, these are like spices. And if you understand how spices bring out the flavor of food, but if you put too much, it overpowers it. That's the same thing with color in your wardrobe. Now, because you've taken my advice and you actually went into some of the best menswear stores, you start to understand the way different fabrics feel. This is a really important one that you do actually in person touch something like cashmere. Go in and look at a worsted wool. Look at the way that a good suit drapes. Basically, that's the way the fabric hangs. Look at the difference between a $20 dress shirt and a $200 dress shirt. I'm not saying you got to go out there and spend that money, but it is important to understand the difference so that when you see that $150 dress shirt marked down to $50 and you're like, you know what? This is a great quality shirt. It's going to last me longer. I can tell by the buttons, they're mother of pearl, that this is great quality. You look at the stitching and you're like, you know what? I am going to go ahead and take advantage of this. And you also know that because you've studied a little bit of fit, that you can take it to your tailor because you know the name of your tailor. And guess what? You get that shirt to fit you perfectly. Boom. You just got a great shirt that looks amazing. Normally $150. And even with the tailoring, just cost you $75. And last but not least, you want to understand the basic style terms. These are words that people are going to throw around like bespoke or Oxford shoes. And by the way, in my free community, I've got a free style dictionary that breaks out all the terms so that you can slowly start to pick these things up and speak the lexicon of a well-dressed man. Seriously, gents, I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up in a trailer park in West Texas, and I feel that there shouldn't be any gatekeeping, that any man that's interested in dressing better and becoming his best self should be able to do that. That's why I provide these resources, because I really want to see you succeed. So now we're getting into the fun part. And this is where you really develop your personal style. And the first thing you want to do is you want to identify your icons. These are the guys that you are inspired by. You've seen them in a movie. You've seen them in a magazine. Maybe you're following them on Instagram. Whatever it is, guys, start to put together your list. And it really helps if they've got a similar complexion, if they're maybe a similar age, if they've got a similar build. Maybe you're a big, heavier guy. You got a little bit of a belly. Well, find guys that are large and in charge and dressing in a way that other men are just, wow, like this guy, yeah, he's big, he's heavy, but he does not look sloppy. No, he's large and I love that, large and in charge. That's what we want, right? Or maybe you're short in stature. Find a guy who stands tall because he's got the confidence. He knows he looks good. Every time he walks in a room, he owns it. Guys, that's what you do when you find your inspiration. You find someone you can connect with who just simply, it's like, you know what? I want to steal his look. Now, the second tip here is you start to experiment. And this is one of the hardest things for a lot of guys because when I say experiment, there are going to be failures. You are going to put some outfits together that you're going to be like, that's not so good. Well, guess what? That's why I love it when you can take a picture, share it in a group, get a little bit of feedback. Or if you don't want to do that, simply wear it around the house. A lot of guys talk to me about, hey, I want to get into wearing a hat. What I always recommend is wearing the hat around the house because when you become used to it, because when you feel you don't even notice it's there anymore, guess what? You're going to walk out not even knowing the hat's on your head or wearing that shirt that you don't normally wear, a collar, a nice shirt like this, and you're just going to go out and run some errands and someone's going to say, hey, wow, you look really good. What are you dressed up for? And you're going to say, oh, I'm dressed up for you. I'm just simply, this is the way I am. I'm looking to be my best self. I just wear this stuff all the time. Now, the third part here is incorporating unique elements. I really like it when a man brings in his heritage. So for me, my father, he's from Guanajuato, Mexico. Bringing in a guayabera, I think is really unique if you've got a Hispanic heritage. Or maybe your grandfather's from East Africa and you want to bring in the dashiki shirt. And I know you Scottish guys are out there always talking about the kilt. Is there a way that you can bring that into your wardrobe? Or maybe just bring the tartan pattern into one of your jackets, a pair of trousers, or something unique. The idea here is that you know who you are, you know what you stand stand for, you know your heritage, and even if it's just a custom piece of jewelry, I love to see a man have fun with his style and be able to bring in a little bit of his own history. Now, up to this point, most of the work we've been doing is right up here. You shouldn't really have spent too much money. Instead, what we've done is we've changed your perspective and your understanding of style. In fact, the goal up to this point, quoting T.S. Eliot, at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. My point there is when you do the groundwork to improve your understanding of style, you don't see it with the same eyes anymore. A sharpened mind and a trained eye is now going to be able to see opportunity and be able to see what your style could be much better. And with that, we're going to start at the foundation. We're going to work on the essentials. We're going to start building your wardrobe basics. So because you've already identified what your needs are based off your profession, your location, all that other stuff, we're going to start to look at maybe jeans. Maybe it's going to be your dress shirt collection. Maybe it's going to be your t-shirt collection. Maybe it's going to be boots. Maybe it's going to be dress shoes. In any case, we are going to know, because of the work we did earlier, what essentials you are missing. Now, the next key step here is you're going to start to focus in on quality, not quantity. Now, because you did a wardrobe assessment, you're going to notice that a lot of items in your closet you just never wore because you didn't like the feel of, you didn't like the look of, they just didn't work for you and your needs. Now, the items that you did wear, the ones that maybe were even worn out, but you would still find a reason to wear them because they just fit you, they look good, they were for good material, these are the items you're going to want to replace. Now, in some cases, you may stick with the same style, the same brand, the same price point, but in other cases, you may say, you know what, I really do like those boots, and it's worth me spending a little bit more money to get something that's higher quality, that looks good, because I know that I wore my last cheap boots into the ground. These more expensive boots are not only going to last longer, but I really like the way they look and I'm going to feel better about owning them. Now let's talk about justifying that high price. I always like bringing up my style theory of value, and that's where value isn't equal to the cost. Value is actually equal to the number of times you're going to wear the item times the way it makes you feel, divided by the price. So a $300 pair of boots that you wear every day for a year and you love is actually less expensive than buying a cheaper pair of boots that you never want to wear, and instead you default to some other shoes in your collection. Now, another key with building that essential foundation is to make sure that everything you buy is interchangeable. So I've now, I think, become synonymous with the idea of the interchangeable wardrobe. So if you have 4 pairs of shoes, if you have 4 shirts, if you have 4 pairs of trousers, and you have 4 jackets, 16 pieces of clothing. But if they're 100% interchangeable, you have a total of 256 outfits. Now, of course, it doesn't always work out that way, but even if you got close, the point is you could own less, you can get more outfits and more wear out of it. And at the end of the day, you have a highly functional wardrobe that you get your money's worth out of. Now, the next step here is building off of the core wardrobe. As you can see here, I just brought in some concentric circles. That circle in the center is that core wardrobe that we just talked about, the essentials. Now let's talk about building everything around it. Now, building around the core, these are going to be items that accentuate your wardrobe. They're going to extend, they're going to basically give you more options, they're going to give you more versatility. So if you're really into shoes, and yes, you've got your essential shoes that you could wear every day, but you realize, you know, it's nice to be able to rotate through, and I want something a little bit more fun, something a little bit more colorful. This is all of a sudden when you bring in the double monk, or you bring in a pair of derbies, or you bring in a pair of casual sneakers, ones that you have a little bit more fun with, maybe in leather, a little bit of color with them, or perhaps it's a blazer jacket or a sports jacket, because every day, yeah, you're not having to wear a jacket. You're much more casual, but you know on certain days that your boss's boss is in town, or if you're giving a presentation on Zoom, yes, you don't need pants, but you definitely need a blazer jacket to look like you're the part of the guy in charge. On top of that, there's also seasonal needs. So again, if you're in California, there's pretty much one season, although things are changed a little bit over there, but you're in Chicago or you're in St. Louis. Guys, you've got a real winter, especially up in Chicago. You've got, fall, you've got a little bit something, it gets muddy in the spring. So the idea here is that you've got seasonal items, jackets, you've got accessories that go with that, hats. The point is you don't need these items all the time, but when you do need them, you want to have them, and they're great to fit around that core. Now, to this point, we haven't talked anything about grooming, but if you're finding your style, you really do want to go see a specialist. If you've been going to the same barber, you've had the same haircut for 10 years, and I get it. Men, we are creatures of habit. But here's the thing, go cheat on your barber, go find a great stylist that can change things up, that can look at your face, look at your head, maybe say, you know what, your colors are changing here. Let's go with the style. Let's maybe even bring in a bit of color into your hair, but let's have fun here and let's change things up. If that sounds too adventurous, just use a different product in your hair. Use a different type of brush. Yes, literally using one type of brush versus another can give your hair a different look. Use a hairdryer when combing your hair. Lo and behold, all of a sudden you get a little bit more texture, you get a little bit more height in your hair, and you may like it. And if you don't, simply run your head under the faucet and comb it the old way. Now, what about a signature scent? Now, I know you love your Old Spice, or maybe it's Stetson, whatever it is. I've got those fragrances, but look to upgrade a bit. Maybe if you got a little bit of budget, instead of Old Spice, look to Creed Viking. If you're going out, you want something sweeter that draws in the ladies, look no farther than the fragrances from Jean Paul Gaultier. Specifically, that new elixir is friggin' amazing. And if all that sounds like too much, you just want versatility and class in a bottle, check out either Tom Ford's Beau de Jour or Hermes's Age 24. Beau de Jour, why I love it, this is classic barbershop, and the Age 24, it's that metallic note. There's just something that reminds me of the gun range. I love it. Next up, practice, evaluate, and evolve. Now, it seems obvious, but the key to finding your style is not thinking about your new style, but actually putting it into practice, wearing the new clothing. Trying it out, putting together the different combinations, experimenting. It's like riding a bike. You've got to do it. Yes, you can watch tons of videos on riding a bike. You can read a book about riding a bike, but nothing beats going out and doing it. The same comes with discovering your style. You put the clothing together, you wear it out, you get compliments, you find events. A lot of people are like, well, I'm always stuck at home. Find or sign up for an event to go to. I know for me, when it comes to fitness, signing up for a race, signing up for an event really forces you to get in shape and to train. The same thing with style. How about you actually set it up so you're taking your girlfriend to one of the nicest restaurants in town? Or maybe you're a father of three. I get it, you're incredibly busy. Well, still take your wife out on a date night, or maybe take your daughters to a father-daughter dance and actually get dressed up for it. And your goal is to be the best looking guy for your little girls so that you can show up for them. Now, when it comes to evaluate, you are going to be your worst critic. And don't always listen to the voice in your head. Really listen to what other people, especially the people that matter to you, what are they saying? Does your girlfriend, does your wife, do your friends? They're like, man, you looked really good. Well, guess what? Yes, they are trying to build you up, but also they're probably being honest. You do look better. So don't be so hard on yourself. That being said, if you look at the pictures, you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, you know what? If I brought this jacket in a bit, if I hemmed those trousers, maybe if I tried a different color, or this color looked really good on me, that color so-so, this is where you evolve. You evaluate what you see and you work to get better. And as many of you guys know, if you're just getting 1% better every day for a year, by the end of that year, you are 37 times better than what you were at the beginning. So there you have it, gents, the step-by-step guide. And again, down in the description of today's video, I'm going to link over to where I've got it all laid out with pictures, details, so that you can actually have this guide absolutely free in our community over at Real Men Real Style on School. So what video to watch next? How about a step-by-step guide on how to dress for the different body types? I know that each of you guys have a different build. Maybe you're carrying a little bit of weight, maybe you're thin. Whatever it is, guys, I've got you covered in this video right here. I break it out. You're going to like it. Check it out. Boom, right there.